The Pattaya 105 Golf Show. All the latest updates and up-to-the-minute golf news with Dave D and Ian.
Welcome to 105 and welcome down here at Studio 54, and in the studio we have here, welcome to the show again. Ian, how are you?
Yeah, good, Dave. Thanks. How are you?
I'm absolutely fine. And before we go any further and we set ourselves off rolling on today on the golf show, thank you for this week and thank you for taking us up to St Andrews.
No, I'm glad you enjoyed it up there Tuesday. It was a lot of fun. Playing Pebble Beach, I mean, you know, with Tiger and Phil. What can I say?
That's what you call a good day out,
Exactly.
isn't it? I mean, that was actually around about, I think it was the third time that I'd ever sort of been and held golf clubs and sort of had a go. As you know, I'm cack-handed. I mean, what was your assessment of me?
I thought you were playing well. I mean, you know, you knock the ball in the screen and then it takes off. And I mean, I was in the sea and on the beach and in the bunker about 10 times. You beat me for sure. There's no question. Oh, you played well.
You're so nice.
Yeah, you did.
And of course, we've got to say thank you very much to Jeff and John.
Absolutely.
Up there at St Andrews
nice.
for taking care of us. But of course, after we went on the simulator, of course, we went out and
we were up on that driving range.
On the driving range.
And that's a bit more like reality. What did you think about that? How'd you get on?
Hot and hard.
It was hot. Yeah,
it was hard.
You know, people think it's a doddle or, you know, hitting a golf ball, whatever, easy. But you're out there, particularly in this heat, and you do begin to notice, for sure.
And I think when we was up at St Andrews and we was talking to Jeff and John, and we'll talk about Lee in a second.
Yeah,
okay,
sure.
and we met some other guys from America, and that was absolutely brilliant to meet them.
Yeah, it's fun.
When I was in there and I was holding the club the way that I hold the club, I mean, you know, it was good to see the guy sort of looking at me saying, you know, this guy holds it cack-handed. But he said he knew a guy that actually held it like that, didn't he?
And also, and I mean, it's not, you know, hitting the regular shots, but I've noticed, and it's obvious when you think about it, a lot of the players on the tours now putt like that. And I don't know why. I presume they think it gives them more control and perhaps a smoother pickup for the putter as the club head's going back, keeping it straighter. But there is definitely a movement in golf for people holding the putter like that.
Yeah, I mean, they were sort of, you know, I felt a little bit imposed on it, if that's what you want to say, because, you know, for me, sitting behind a mic on a radio station and looking after people and interviewing people is my sort of comfort zone, and I was out of my comfort zone, and I was surrounded by all these golf pros and whatever, looking at me playing cack-handed.
And on Pebble Beach.
and on Pebble Beach as well.
On the video, anyway.
But anyway, thank you very much to Jeff and John for looking after me and in. Now, when we was up at St Andrews, we were going to hopefully get Lee in here. Lee Alderley.
Lee Adderley, that's
Adderley.
right. Caddy to Ian Woosnam. Yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to make it. Dropped me a message a little bit earlier on, just before the show, saying he'd been tied up and would do his best, but I'm pretty sure he won't be able to. But nonetheless, interesting character. Yeah. Ian Woosnam, who he, I believe, still caddies for, a very interesting man, and somebody I think we ought to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've got to say, you know, to Lee, I mean, we was up there at St Andrews, we put him on the spot, we were there, and it was nice to meet you, Lee. Thanks for...
No, I agree. But to be fair to him, it was 2 days before the show. We didn't ask for a hole in the wall, so it was nice of him to say, well, I'll do my best.
But I'm sure he'll be here at a later date. But
sure.
Lee, thanks for sending us a message, and of course you are tied up and you are a busy man, but we'll get him on at a later date. I'm sure we will. But going back to Ian Woosnam, if I remember, because he was probably, I would say, what, top 5 80s?
Well, I mean, he was actually world's number 1 in 1991 for 50 weeks on the trot. So, I mean, no, he's a good player. Back in the early 80s, American golf had way overtaken European golf, and you had 5 players, what they called the Big Five, although actually Woosnam was about 5'4" in a fag paper. So, anyway, but there we are. You had Ballesteros, Faldo, Langer and Lyle, and they were the Europeans that really brought European golf back up to sort of, if you like, internationally competitive standards to the Americans. And interestingly, they were all born within 12 months of each other. And I know that Woosnam was born in 58, so they were all born around that time within 12 months.
And of course, some of them, of course, all of them basically won at least one major sort of championship, didn't they?
That's absolutely right. And you know, back in '91, when Woosie had been world number 1 for 50 consecutive weeks, within that period, he won the Masters at Augusta, becoming the first Welshman to win a major championship.
Wow!
Now, he's also, interesting facts about him, because obviously did a little bit of research. He's the first player to win the World Match Play Championship in 3 different decades. So, you know, we've talked in the past about golf being a game for all ages, starting young and going up into, you know, 70s and beyond. Well, this proves it. He was competitive at international world standards for 30 years. I mean, that's pretty amazing.
It's pretty amazing, of course. And also, we've got to say about Lee, of course, who like we say, who's out on another, you know, he's taken up at the moment, but thanks a lot for sending us a message. Of course, he started caddying,
back in 89.
89, wasn't
That's
it?
right,
For Ian Woosnam.
But interesting story there, actually, because, you know, I think a couple of shows ago, wasn't it, the first question we had, which we said, oh, that's too easy, how many clubs in a bag?
Which was the 14, yeah.
You know. Well, interestingly, the caddy that Woosnam had at the time, this was at the Open in 2001, Miles Byrne. I don't know what happened. He just didn't bother to count, or he assumed that there were the right number of clubs in the bag. Well, there weren't. There were 15 in the bag. He got a 2-shot penalty, Woosnam, as a result at that Open in 2001, and he came tied 3rd. So there's an argument to say if his caddy, or his ex-caddy, had actually counted the clubs to get 14, not 15, or never had 15 clubs in there more than the 14 in the first place, Woosnam actually might have come back and won the Open. Which
is that a standard? Is that a standard? I mean, is that a standard rule book for everybody?
2-shot penalty, more than, and I think in fact it's 2 shots per club.
Wow. So is it standard that everybody has 14 clubs?
Yes,
100%. That's it. There's no sort of.
Well, the rule is you can't have more than.
Right.
But quite honestly, you're never going to have less than. So it's going to be 14.
Okay, and of course, also about Woosley, of course. I mean, didn't he sort of win sort of 8 consecutive?
Well, he was in the Ryder Cup.
Okay.
For 8 consecutive tournaments. They're played every couple of years. So that's from 1983 to 1997. In 2006, he actually became the captain just for 1 year. The year before Faldo took over from him.
Right.
But in 2006, they had a huge victory, 18.5 to 9.5. It was Europe's 3rd consecutive victory, and they were in Ireland at the K Club. Courses there, if I remember rightly, are Arnold Palmer designed, couple of courses. And if you look at the team back in 2006, the European team, and you compare that to today's world rankings, it's very interesting, because you've got Luke Donald, currently world number 1,
right,
playing back in at the K Club there in 2006. You had Lee Westwood as a captain's pick, not there by right, which is interesting, and currently world number 2. Sergio Garcia was playing there as well. Ola Tharbal was playing, Colin Montgomery, Padraig Harrington, and Darren Clark, who of course won the Open last year. So the European team
bit of a super team.
Oh, really? However, the team that they beat by such a big margin, the US team in 2006, was headed by Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, and Jim Furyk, who were then at the time world number 1, 2, and 3 consecutively. So pretty amazing. Okay,
all right. Now we're going to take a quick break, but we've got a special record coming up for somebody, which is
well, absolutely. This is for Blackie. Had a good Craig Blacklock, the Jelly Belly Candy Company here in Pattaya. If he's listening, I hope he is. Played a nice game of golf with him up at Pattaya Country Club, his home course, on Sunday, and of course, this is for you.
It's a bit of Backmanton Overdrive.
Exactly.
The Pattaya 105 Golf Show. All the latest updates and up-to-the-minute golf news with Dave D and Ian.
Welcome back to 105 down here at Studio 54, 24 minutes past the hour, 4 o'clock. Ian is in the studio on the golf show today, and it's been so good so far, so good, and all that kind of stuff, hasn't it?
That's it.
It's been a bit of a mix-up today, and of course, things happen when it's live. It's okay when you get people to sit down and record stuff, but when it's live, it doesn't go according to plan all the time, does it? But things that are going according to plan, what we're going to be talking about a little bit later on in the show, of course, is the Honda, which is the LPGA, isn't it?
LPGA, the ladies,
which is on the Siam Country Club, and also we'll give you the golf club schedule where people are playing over the weekend. But first, we're going to go over to Pebble Beach, I do believe.
Well, we are. I mean, you were there on Tuesday. You and I were there on the simulator, but the boys were out there actually for real last weekend. So Mickelson playing an absolute storming round, 8 under par, 64 to win the tournament, which is really lovely. And you know, we've been talking about caddies and Lee and whatever. What's so nice about Mickelson winning here at Pebble Beach is that apparently his grandfather used to caddy at Pebble Beach.
Wow.
Isn't that great?
And how about Mr. Tiger? How's he doing?
Well, not so well. He came in with 75 in his final round. They were playing together, he and Phil Mickelson, and for every good shot that Mickelson did, which were many, I'm afraid there were rather much the same bad ones from Tiger. He had 5 bogeys, which was not very good for a 75.
What do you think? I mean, besides the problems that he's having, he's coming out of those now. I mean, do they have like a good streak and a bad streak?
Oh,
or,
very definitely.
I don't know how it works.
It's not just in golf, that's in every sport. You look at it, it's very hard, as in fact Tiger did. I mean, I suppose the closest you could say is somebody like Bjorn Borg in tennis, or Roger Federer. It's very hard to stay the world's #1 for, year in, year out, and win everything. Very difficult.
I tell you what I did see on TV as well the other day, and see, we've been doing the golf show. I don't know, for whatever reason, I just keep sort of tuning into golf and getting my head sort of around it a little bit. But I seen one the other day, it was Ballesteros.
Yeah.
But basically, what he'd done, he played a shot. The shot went off to the right and landed under a parked car.
Yes.
So
he made them clear the car park. I remember that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And then he played the shot.
I was amazed.
Either parred or came in, much less.
But he came into. I can't remember the actual tournament that it was, but he came in to win the tournament at the end of it. But
I think that's right.
But basically, I mean, to say that he, how would I put it? To say that he zigzagged down the course would probably be an understatement.
But that was his speciality. I mean, he was a wizard. I mean, he was the absolute magician, and he could pull off shots that I think even Tiger Woods today would look and say, my God, how did he manage that? I mean, just impossible situations. There's one, I think it's in Switzerland at Crans-Montana. I forget. I believe it is Crans-Montana in Switzerland, where they play on the European Tour, and they put a plaque, a sort of brass plaque, because his ball was, I think, right behind a wall, and his caddy said, there's no way on earth you're going to get that ball out of there. Play it backwards or take a drop.
Take a drop or whatever.
And he looked and he sort of used to stalk it all around and pace it out, and he came back and he hit this absolute miracle shot.
Right.
And on TV it's the sort of, the shot of the century, if you like. They have shot of the day, shot of the tournament, but this is, I think, the shot of the decade, if not more. And it was like, how do you make an impossible shot possible? Well, your name is Seve Ballesteros.
And of course, at the end of the tournament, which I actually was watching, it was taking you sort of flashing back in time. It was very funny because the tournament, he finished, he potted his putt, and basically finished the game. He won it, and he's sort of walking back to the house, the clubhouse, and this guy puts his arms around and starts kissing everything, and then one of the officials goes, get off him, get off him, get off him. He says, stop kissing him. He says, I can kiss him. He says, I'm his brother. which I thought was really funny. Anything else before we take a short break?
Well, no, I want to talk about Dubai. It was their last game in the Desert Swing, the Dubai Desert Classic, and you had all the big boys there. You had McIlroy, Thomas Bjorn, Martin Keimer, Lee Westwood, who actually had 3 very good rounds, the second, third and the final round. But it was a relatively unknown Cabrero Bello. Now there's a good name for you.
Was it?
Cabrero Bello.
Cabrero Bello.
Absolutely, and he came in and he won. And Westwood, as I say, played very well, but didn't quite get there. But he did take the world #2 spot back from Rory McIlroy, because McIlroy was 4 shots back off the lead, tied for 5th. Westwood coming in 2nd, so they leapfrogged, and so you got Luke Donald #1, Lee Westwood, and then Rory at #3, and I believe actually Martin Keimer's still at #4. So some interesting moves in that final.
So a good one over there. Dubai.
Final one in the desert. Yeah.
Is that it now? I mean, when do they sort of kick off again over there?
It's every week.
Every week.
The US Tour, the PGA Tour, is at Riviera, the Northern Trust Open, which in fact Riviera is a beautiful golf course just outside Los Angeles, and the European Tour is in India for the. What is it on that one?
Sounding good, that one.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. They're there in India. I think there's just that one tour.
Good.
And then they all come over to Arizona. In fact, we'll talk about it a bit later, but for the Accenture match play, which will be really fabulous, because you're only eligible to play if you're one of the top 64 players in the world.
That's us out
So
there.
you get your field is the top 64 players in the world.
Wow. Okay, and also, while guys are tuned into the show today, we're going to try and keep you, like we said, we're going to try and keep you up to the minute and up to the date on the LPGA, which is happening up there in Silent Country Club.
Got the ladies up there at CM,
and there's quite a few to sort of open the eye at the moment, but we'll keep you updated on that one. We're going to get some international news out of the way. Come back with me and Ian, and towards the end of the show, we'll give you the standings at the moment up there at Siam, and of course the under one, yeah?
And our question.
Our question of...
The Pattaya 105 Golf Show. All the latest updates and up-to-the-minute golf news with Dave D and Ian.
Thanks a lot, guys. Welcome back to the Golf Show with me, Dave D, and, of course, Ian in the studio. Now, if you're out there and you're a golfer or you've got a golfing bar, of course, get in contact with us down at the studio. It's www.pattaya105.com, or simply send it into golf@pattaya105.com. Send us an email and let us know where you're going this week and what you are doing. A lot of you, of course, are out this weekend, and, of course, we can see by just having a quick look that some of the guys from Donovan's, they're off to Green Valley.
Nice. Well, that's where we were.
Yeah, so they're going up to where we are. Also, what I'm going to before we go into a quick sort of sum up and then do the final segment today, of course, of the women's LPGA, which is up there at Silent Country Club. When we was up at St Andrews, what I did like as well, it's a nice little sort of atmosphere up there. And Jeff, who's up there that fixes the clubs, I was pretty amazed at how they do it.
Yeah, I got all the machines out there.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
Taking the shafts in and out of the club heads and putting the grips on and whatever. No, it's fascinating.
And of course, he had one in there, and he showed me this club. It was sort of bent a bit at the end, and I said, well, how do you think that happened? And he says, well, going on the way the club is and going, just looking at it, he says probably the guy was standing too close to a tree when he took a shot.
I would have thought it's usually a tree root. Yeah.
A tree root. Okay. And, you want to do a little bit of a sum up, so let's do the roundup of this week, of course.
Okay, yeah, well, they're all out there in Los Angeles, or just outside Los Angeles, for the Northern Trust Open at Riviera. Lovely golf course, and Mickelson is playing there after his victory this last weekend at Pebble Beach, and Luke Donald, the world #1, is making his PGA debut there. So his first round of golf on the PGA Tour in the States this week. And Sergio's there. Jason Day is going to be there, and also Adam Scott. So interesting field.
Should be good. Riviera, is it a tough one or what?
It's a lovely course. Yeah, very difficult. Yeah.
Okay, so we've got, of course, we say it's a tough. What were you saying? It's a tough golf course, and of course, out there in Los Angeles. That's what.
Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We can play it on the screen. We can go back up to Jeff and John, and we can put the tape on, and we can take you around it, so you can see what it's like.
And of course, if you, like we say, if you need to know any golfing tips, Ian's down here at the studio. So I think what we can do, Ian, is if anybody wants to sort of send any questions through to you, or ask you anything at all, or want some advice, all you got to do is send it down to golf@pattaya105.com, and I'll send it on to Ian, and you can sort of help them out, Lee.
Well, I can get the old wiki on and see what the answer is. That's good.
That's one way of doing it. Okay, we're gonna set you a question just before we go into the final segment of the day, because time is running away with us today. Now, this is one for you, Ian. You probably know the answer. You probably don't know the answer. I don't know, but this has been sent in by Brian, and he said, Dave, could you do this question of the week on your golf show? So I've sent a quick one back to him and said, yes, we can. All right. So here is today's question. Ready for the guys that are on the Facebook? You ready for this one?
Yep.
Okay. Which American won the British Open Golf Championships 5 times between 1975 and 1983?
I know the answer, and I'm sure a lot of people will. And it's a good question, and a really amazing.
It's a good question. Of course, first one out the bag that Ian picks out, we'll send someone off to you and get you sorted out in the way of a nice prize, I would imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
Why not? So there you go. Which American won the British Open Golf Championships 5 times between 1975 and 1983? Now, courses around Patty. Have you played most of them? Have you, Ian?
Certainly not all of them, but yes, most of them. Yes.
So where we went the other day when we went to St Andrews, they've actually got
there are, of course, as you say, there are 3
courses. What are the courses?
Well, when I first started playing there, I was a member at Green Valley, which was essentially where we were with Jeff and John, and that's the clubhouse for all of them. Although I believe that they are building a a new clubhouse a bit further over, but it didn't look like it was completed yet.
Okay.
They've got a beautiful, slightly unusual course, St Andrews 2000. Lovely golf course, but they have 2 par 6s there. Now, a par 6 is a very unusual hole in that a regular golf course, a PGA European Tour golf course, would never go beyond par 5. And I think they've got 2 par 6s, one on the first, one on the back 9, and I think one of them's just over 600, and I think the other about 650 or 680. You know, which is really long.
And of course, they have the new one, which was
Silky Oaks. And what, in fact, Jeff and John were telling us is that what they've built up there, although it's 18 holes, it's in fact 2 9s.
Right.
And they're going to build 2 more 9s, so there'll be 4 courses up there.
I mean, I must say, the whole lot is in very, very good condition, isn't it?
There's
and
a
of course,
big investment there.
Yeah, I can say the caddies, the trolleys, and when we was up there as well, there was a lot of people there. I was surprised how many people were actually there.
That always had a reputation at Green Valley, particularly, of being absolutely bombed out by the Koreans. But John was saying to me that although they do bring the national team out there and they practice there and they take over the course because there's a hotel and condo facilities where they all stay, they have now limited their starting times. I think he said up until
sort of space it out and give everybody a good chance.
Exactly, so it just doesn't block book the entire course. When I was a member there, I used to be somewhat frustrated in that you had to book a month in advance just simply to get a time.
Yeah, which is would also put people off, though. I'm sure.
Well, it does, because you know you're paying quite a lot of money for your membership, and then you can't actually get a starting time to play when you want to. We've got a Thai player. Gulyanamita, if I got that right, Numa, at 3 under.
So are they sort of playing for big money up there? I mean, what kind of prize money is it? I mean, is it much up there, or
it's not huge by international standards, but yeah, I mean, it's a reasonable amount.
And also, we seen that when we went by there the other day, we seen that the car was out there on the stand.
They were putting all the flags out and all the signs and whatever along that bit where the train is and the aircraft.
What was the car then?
Great.
What was that? Do you reckon the car was there because Honda's doing it, or do you think it was
that'll
be
for a hole?
That'll
be the hole-in-one car.
Do you think so?
Oh, I'm sure.
Now, would that as we said before, is the hole-in-one on a certain hole, or
it's always on a par 3.
Okay.
And if they can put it on a floating platform, or I suppose an anchored platform in the middle of a lake with a fountain next to it, well, that always looks very pretty. But that's always what they do. It's a par 3.
So who's the the lady that's like the reigning champion in this at the moment? I mean,
well, actually looking down the list, I can't see her, but it's Yanni Sang.
We've seen that earlier. We're trying to keep.
I think
she's there, just there. Look, there you go.
She is. She's on the 17th, and she's even par. So she's 5 shots behind on that basis. So anyway, first day. I mean, it's no great shakes, but does leave her a bit behind, bit of catching up to.
And the live links we've got is that there's quite a few people up there. Believe it or not.
Yeah,
so
there are.
There's quite a few people going up there, and of course, as we can say in the standings, of course, at the moment around the world, just in the men's standing, just off the top of my head, from what Ian's kept us up to date with, and we've had a couple of emails in. Luke Donald, number 1, yeah?
Number 1, yeah.
Okay, Lee Westwood, number 2.
Now, yes, after last week, yeah.
Yeah, Rory McIlroy is 3.
Who we overtook.
Martin Kramer, number 4, and Steve Stricker, which is...
Steve Stricker, number 5, is
number 5, yeah, so that's the top 5 as we stand.
Excellent.
So, of course, this week, going anywhere?
I'll try and get around it on Sunday, perhaps up at Pattaya Country Club again, which was quite nice. And what about you? You're doing a...
I'm going up
movie star.
Well, I wouldn't say a movie star, but I'm going up to Bangkok tomorrow to meet some guys that are coming over from America, and they're doing a new film up there, which is White Tiger, and you've got some guys that have starred over the years in many action films, stunt doubles, whatever you want to say, and also leading roles at the side of other people. They've been in loads and loads of movie kung fu.
That sounds fantastic.
So it should be really good. But we're getting these, or Mark Jerry is getting these 5 people together, and this is the first time actually they've ever been together.
Really?
You've got Don the Dragon up there, who was in the Batman and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
So there's quite a few other people who are going to be there. It's up at the Sheraton at. So
Bangkok. When do you go up? Were you saying after the show tomorrow?
After the show tomorrow. After the show tomorrow, I've got to fly up there, and hopefully everything will be okay, and it'll be good, and I should report back to you and let you know how it's going.
Okay, well, look after yourself, because we'll have to get you out playing golf next week. So no injuries.
No injuries. Now we're going to get that driving range again, and
exactly.
Like I said, thank you very much to Jeff and John up at St Andrews, and thank you very much to yourself, because I did learn a lot. I did learn a lot, and I think it's good, you know, when you've got guys at the side of you who are playing this golf all the time and teaching it, and they've got all these kind of things to sort of help you out. You know, like I said to Jeff at the time, do people pick up bad habits?
I mean, undoubtedly,
it's 100%, isn't it?
I mean, we'll have to get you actually as well up to Neville out there at Greenway and get you a lesson, because you certainly don't want to watch me, because then you'll have bad habits forever. I mean, that'll be dreadful.
But just you know, just by adjusting small things, it's just amazing. I mean, and you did tell me one thing, but I did pick up on, and I was absolutely amazed. Now, you know, most people, you know, who don't play golf and they want to have a go at it, you know, would pick up the club and basically, you know, stand how you're supposed to stand, and they'd whack the ball with all their might, and you think, oh, that's a good shot. But you said to me, Dave, you know, that you are hitting the ball pretty straight, but slow, you know, do everything in slow motion, basically.
Slow it down.
What happened? I mean, what happened?
I think the word is counterintuitive. I mean, you think, logically, the harder you hit it, the further it goes.
Yeah.
Nothing could be further from the truth. It's actually the slower you hit it, the more likely you're going to hit a good shot.
I was astounded that it is,
and it works.
Absolutely.
And we golfers, we tell ourselves that every day of our lives for years and years and years, and do we do it? Do we shit? No, we don't.
All right, okay.
Anyway, have a good weekend.
Absolutely great. Thank you very much. You'll be back here next Thursday, and we'll start to get that formula done and get the rundown done, and of course bring you guys out there all the latest golf news from around the world, and of course from Pattaya, Thailand, which we will say that Pattaya is one of the capital of the golfing world, isn't it? With all the courses around us.
It's great.
From me, I'm staying here. You're going, so you better say goodbye.
I will. Bye, Dave.
Okay, and you're welcome, and I'll see you
next week.
Same time, same place next week. Okay.
All right.